that it pretty is an even field. The biggest thing is to make sure they understand the word, because if they don't know its meaning, it's useless. And the idea of family connections is very big on that. So yeah, I mean, there's ad nauseum of these, and this flow chart is amazing. And please, you know that you can leave. I'm just looking back, but here we are. This flow chart is what you have on your table here. I use these at parent conferences. I get my children to teach my parents, and they walk away saying, I wish I had this when I was growing up. Because this is the fundamental truth. This is how you get the absolute 100% correct spelling if you follow it accurately. And so we do a whole week leading up to it of teaching them how to drive through a flow chart. And so what you do is you have a list of words here. You have the two hands. You put one here. Oh, so about that. So you have the driving finger, and you have the word on the evidence finger. So you got to start the random sound effects. So off they go. Then you make the dramatic. You hit into that. You have to stop. You have to read it out loud. Does the suffix begin with a vowel? So your finger, kinesthetic, is pointing to that, and they say, does the suffix, so then, okay, which part is the suffix? Oh, there it is. Does it begin with a vowel? And the answer is? Yes. The E is a vowel. So what do? You drive your car along the yes path. So here we go. Everyone start your image. Let's jump into a next question. Read it out loud. Does the word end with an E? So does the base word end with an E? Yes. Yes, it does. It's got an E right there, C-A-V-E. So what road do we have to drive on? Yes. Here we go. And anytime you reach a square box, that is, do me, this is what you have to do. Whereas this is the box. So what do you need to do? Remove the E before you add the suffix. So what do? I then take my paper and pencil. I remove the E by drawing that slash through, much like I've done here. And then this word sum on the right-hand side is rewritten as, that's where you make all the surface changes. So you would then spell it out, C-A-V, no E, Edie. And even the way that you pronounce it, Edie, is fixing in this idea that it's a building block. It belongs together. You don't say E-D or I-N-G. Edie. So this is incredible. There are flow charts for all sorts of different things. Whether you use D, G, E, or G, E, whether you use F or double F, whether you drop the E or don't drop the E, Y to an I. And when I discovered that, I was like, whoa, this is the truth. I mean, this is it. If you follow this, you've got it.
Ilana, just a quick question. The program you went to in Kingston, the camp, with your kids, how many days was that training?
So Pete Bowers does 3-day workshops in the summer. He often presents at Earcoast and Mesa, so 2 or 3 days. He often comes to schools for whatever, a week at a time.
Yeah.
He also does Skype kind of deals.
But clearly, I mean, this is in university in speech.
Yes.
This is a whole class, a whole semester course.
Yeah. So I mean, I did linguistics, and I was scratching my head, and I still am, over many things. But when I see this, it's like, how can I not do this for my children?
But I mean, you learned it over 3 days, but you really gained a lot of your knowledge from utilizing it.
You have to jump in. You have to have the oomph and courage and know that you are not the expert. You go in there and you say to the kids, hey, I bumped into this cool thing. I'm going to be right in there with you. I don't know all the answers, but man, we're going to try it together. And that's what I had a hard time getting over, the way that I am. But I am so good with it now. It's like, oh, I just learned something new. And I'm continually saying that. Or I rush off to this book, And I say, now that is a great question. I don't know, but let's investigate. Oh, I just found this out. I'm continually modeling this idea that it's a journey for all of us. I'm not presenting it as the guru. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Absolutely huge. You know, you can do a reverse word sum where you have the word and you're peeling the banana. You can do a word sum where you're taking the building blocks and you're making the words, check the joins. Is anything happening? Is the Y changing to an I? So you can do it both ways with that. And gone are these mundane spelling tests where you literally memorize it, practice hard, woo, and then forget it by Sunday. So I haven't really trained myself to get well into this, but Pete has given us some stuff. This could be a quiz. This could be a test for you to gauge where they are in their journey of understanding these building block concepts or that there are changes. It's
Would you
incredible.
feel comfortable doing this as a pre-assessment for kids that have never approached spelling this way? Or do you feel like this would have to be done once they understand?
Do you know, that's a really interesting question because there's a lot of instinctive knowledge that they don't need the fancy terminology. And the videos that I've linked in that document I sent to you are proof that this was the first ever session that Pete was having with this class, for example, and they were answering his questions. I mean, they weren't using the fancy terminology, but they knew what he was getting at. And then he said, oh, well, we have a name for that. And then off he goes with it. So I probably would have to gauge it and see. Like, my purpose in life is not to make them feel uncomfortable and dumb. But it's amazing what a child might have with that. These are all from Pete Bowers. In that document that I send you guys, there's links to his website. He's phenomenal what he gives out. I mean, what resources are free. It's mind-boggling what he has.
Would you share it with me since I cried?
Ah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
me
would love
too.
to.
I didn't get what you
Yes.
keep referring to.
Yes, yes. And it's freaky. I mean, I walked away literally from that first time with the weight of the world on my shoulder. And no, there are tools out there. There's an amazing tool called the Word Searcher. And you'll like this, Karen, for middle school, for example. Oh, yeah. So this is the Word Searcher. And say I had that question. Remember I pulled off S-P-I-R-E? And I said, go into your brain dictionary. What words can you think of? And we came up with, 1, 3, 4, 5. Look at this. I mean, this is mind-boggling. So you type in S-P-I-R-E. And look on the right-hand side. Like, how amazing is that?
That's a website?
This is a website. Neil Ramsden is actually Melvyn's brother. He has developed this tool called Word Searcher. And so this is not perfection because you have to turn your brain on. But at the middle school and the high school level, you then get the kids going through and they find the ones that actually are part of the family versus coincidence. So I'm trying to think. Okay, so for example, you have the word van, V-A-N. And there are so many kids, oh yeah, that's the base word A-N plus V. And then we kind of make a funny face. It's like, oh, that's interesting. So let's test out our theory. You know, you keep it straight. You got A-N, and I'm fixing on V. Now to prove that that's a prefix, can you go through your brain dictionary? You can use this tool. Are there any other words that have the prefix V? And then they very rapidly see, oh, silly me. V-A-N is just one base. It can't be peeled. You can't put your x-ray glasses on. And so that's a very typical beginner thing. And the more you hear it, the more they say it's like, oh yeah, of course, you remember that. So this word searcher tool is mind-boggling because you can search up all the words that end in ED. Can you imagine a dictionary that gives you that? I mean, wow, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So that's the word searcher. And then again, this idea of the toolkits. I purchased them over the years myself. They've now evolved into CDs or DVDs, or whatever, and it's all interactive and it's got embedded videos and this and that. I left them at home, but that's where, man, we gotta use our budgets and get that at the school, like holy knackers. Look at this. Theme after theme after themes, ED, UGH, phonology, all of these. When do I use CK and when do I just use K? When do I use all the different uses of the long E sound? Why is it that I can't have two I's together? I mean, it's so rich, it's mind-boggling what it does include. So this is Melvyn Ramsden's RealSpelling website. And he's incredible. He's been doing this, just his passion to get the real truth out about the English spelling language. He's got videos highlighting this, that, his resources. He will answer emails. He's absolutely incredible. And this manual, I don't even know. This is the answer to every question you ever had. I mean, it's hilarious. I don't even think he publishes it now. But this just explains everything. It has all the truths about it, and it's just fascinating stuff. This world of English spelling, when we thought it was all just so incredibly, insanely crazy. The word inquiry tools, the word searcher, there's even 2 programs that are being developed by these people now that make matrices. So you input the word sums, you press the button go, and it makes a matrix. It's incredible. Oh my goodness. So I see such potential for upper levels, all levels, and then getting them in on the technology as well. It's super exciting. There's a bunch of teachers around the world that have just jumped both feet head into it, and they've got blogs up and running on that. I did it a huge amount in Doha. I did a huge amount in Manila. It's my way of being here, but I wouldn't say that I do lessons specifically.
The media
Weekly
matrix
lessons.
maker is the one.
Yes.
Makes it, okay.
Yes, that's right. And this book is incredible.
Who's the author for that one?
This one is John Kennedy. And so, I'm trying to think about that one. Oh, you know Ali Al-Mufti?
Mm-hmm.
You know Ali? So this was 2 years ago. We were looking at the word, he wanted the survival, the word survival. So in my class I have this thing called How to Go Pad. And so when they have a spelling question, they can't just come up to me and I'll give it to them. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way, honey. So they have their Have a Go Pad, they try it once, they try it the second time, try it third time, come to me and I'll give them the answer. And depending on the nature of the game, if I have time or if it's a good fit, I can slip in all this kind of stuff. And so I happened to recognize that the word survival was really juicy. And so I was able to get him to pull out survive plus AL. And I put on my x-ray glasses and I could see that SUR was a prefix. Now, I then prompted him and said, oh, do you happen to know the word vivid? Because I was already a mile ahead of him, you know, speeding like a freight train going on, thinking, well, I can pull this out of my hat for him. Do you know the word vivid? So that was me going for family members. And so he went running off to this book, and he was looking up the word survive in this book. So the way that it works, it's in 2 sections. So this front section, you see how you've got the word alphabetically, like a regular dictionary, but there's part in bold. So you go and find the word survive in the S section. And you've got a hypothesis in your head that you're thinking part of it's going to be in bold because it's a bound base. And lo and behold, so VIV is in bold. So then, what you do, you now know that that's a bound base. So then you go into the back section, into the V section, and this book will tell you family members, what other words belong to that family, and if it's Latin, if it's Greek. And my vocabulary has become so rich because of it. My children's vocabulary has expanded, walking away, spouting out words that they never would have been exposed to. And it was all because in my brain I had this idea that maybe vivid has something to do with it, but maybe it doesn't. And I didn't know. So it turns out that VIV comes from Latin, vivere, and we talk like this in our class all the time. They have hypotheses. I think that's a Greek word. I think it's hilarious. And it means live. So then all these words in italics are family connection numbers. And there are words that I don't know. Who cares? It's so enriching and they feel so empowered. So vivify, to give life to, vivid, lively. So then we have this giant, oh my goodness, that's so cool kind of bonding moment with VIV. And viviparative. I don't even know what that is, and then I look, producing a lot of young. Wow, I've just grown my vocabulary. And revive, and you kind of, does that have a meaning connection? Revive. Oh, I know, when someone fell in the pool and they were drowning and you revive them, and then they're not out. So it's just amazing. This book is super cool to have in the classroom, and it's fun because you got prefixes at the back, and that gives you a little list of those. But to have a classroom with those books in is super amazing. So Pete sends out a newsletter usually every month or so, and it's just so rich with stuff that it's kind of fun to have on. There are their emails, Pete and
You're going to share
Melvyn.
this?
I'll share that with you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are absolutely welcome. And there's the explanation for those words, if anyone's intrigued. Why in the world is tough spelled like that? That was another catch for me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a lovely holiday.
I would love to create something like that. Just that
Yes.
word wall is amazing. Oh, vowels, the long vowels. Kids
Yes.
still stumble across it. And this sound written.
Yes.
Oh my
Huge.
gosh.
Huge.
Just putting it down, simplifying it that way.
And it just alleviates so much because it frustrates them so much. It's like, why is it that it sounds like you? And it's like, oh, because we have two things. When you say that out loud, action. But why would you use SHUN on paper when you know that an action comes from
And
act?
I always thought it was ION, but then everyone kept telling me, no, it's
Yay!
TION and SION. It's like,
And I felt so guilty because that's what I thought all these years, because that's what we were taught. And I had never been shown this idea of that's just the surface of it. If we dig deep into the structure of how it's built,
it
it's
broke
not.
it up into such a different way. I never
Mhm.
approached it like
Yeah.
that at all with my students. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. And so that's why I can usually handle words the way, but still I know too much, like it's a curse, because there are some sortings, like all this CBC.
But that's, we always tell them, listen to the sound, but it's actually, what does the word mean?
Yes, yes.
So how do we,
I always tell them when we come to drop the E, well, if you put two vowels together,
won't they make a long vowel sound? So does it make sense if you do that. So just like you were saying with hope and hopping, you know, so no, we need to put another P to protect that vowel, unless it will be a long vowel sound. So I did break it up that way,
Yes.
but it was just something that I did. It wasn't was there a way that explained it that way. So
yeah, and that's why I call it, it's like a souped up
Yeah.
series. And honestly, these themes are like they're mind-boggling. And as everything is on the series now, I just dropped a little of these. But it's laid out, now it's interactive. So he's got videos and he's got links and everything. But it gives you a progression. And his big thing is that he is absolutely, this is not a program, it's not, it's a resource for the truth about the English language. Like he is absolutely adamant that he's not looking for teachers.
yeah.
He's fine that way. He's got a real kid. But Pete, who does see and is a teacher himself, is very much trying to meld the two words. But as you get up with things, I mean, LE versus AL
That's
and,
true. That's
OR
a hard one.
versus
That's
ER.
really hard
And
one
yet,
for kids, but it must
there
have
actually-
a really
there must be a
easy
reason, yeah.
explanation for it.
Yeah. And so, you know, I used to struggle with this, and I still do. Oh, where do I start?
I know, that was
What
going to be
do I
my
get?
question, actually,
I started
where do I
either.
start, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering, would it make sense if I introduced a matrix first? Say, you know, look at this matrix, this is how words can be created, how many words can be created, so it's really, really simple.
Yeah.
As like a morning activity,
Yes.
to kind of just get their brain thinking.
Yeah. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get you on the link sheet that I sent. And she's a grade 2 teacher. And she
Is she the one that does?
beyond
Oh, here, okay, I was just looking like that. Okay.
read through that, have fun.
Okay.
She is phenomenal. I had the honor of being at a workshop with her,
Oh, wow.
which was humbling because she was attending it as an attendee.
Oh, wow.
She's top of anything. She's incredible.
Okay.
But she has even more incredible than Pete, who's been out of the classroom for 8 years.
Okay.
She is in the trenches and she's grade 2, so the lower end. And so she has this lovely word bank. She's got really good you know, she magically pulls out words and those sort of things. So that, as you say, a little more routines of bit by bit by bit.
That's meaningful.
Yes.
That can build that understanding of
Yes.
words.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just so I don't feel guilty that I'm not, I don't even have time to use words, but yeah, I'm trying. But I think that's,
But it's just so exciting, you know, like,
you know, and I've never even thought of posting some of this stuff. I might come in here one day just to take some pictures for ideas.
yes,
Just to
yes.
help some of my kids
Yeah, I mean,
make
I
those
just-
connections.
I found vision so different. And this,
I never even knew
I
that.
know, I didn't either, and it totally makes sense.
does.
That there's no way in the world they can each do a specific job, and for us to say that they can is ridiculous, so we've got these teams. Yes, that is incredible. And this one, wise have, not spelled H-A-V, because there's a convention in the English language that says no word can end with V. And thank heavens, I hand up, thank heavens, we have this silent vowel that we can throw on and stay out of word study prison. That's how I talk. Stay out of word study prison. And they're like, oh yeah. So give, have, blue. Why is it B-L-U-E? It has nothing to do with long vowel, comes over pinches and all that stuff that we make of it. This is one of my favorite themes, is the silent E thing. I don't know which one it is there. But I didn't even get into half of it. So we did the
I
please.
love that one, yeah.
And this one, you know, it's this whole, it can be k or g on paper, and the sound of it is different. So if we had love you, we would have to say love you. So thank heavens we have that, which allows us to get the j sound, and that's where, oh, here.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything is so interconnected, it's incredible. And this one is super fun. Once they investigate and come up with this conclusion, then, you know, we hike off all those. office, man, they're boring, they don't have any changes.
Could you let me know when you're gonna have an investigation one day, like in class, just so I can see what that
You know,
looks
I mean, the
like?
scary thing about all this is we've got so far away from this. What has happened, and it's just because it's my way of being, I can't help myself, is we do a lot of spontaneous stuff. So it's the thing with my existence. Now last year, I made it part of my appraisal goal, so damn it, I did it. And that's why I did up those flowcharts and made that great big hoopla and all. But I mean, maybe I'll get inspired to get back to it because I haven't done this out for a while. And
Well, keep me in the back of
so
your head, I
passionate
know.
about it, yeah.
I would love to see something like that.
In action,
Yeah.
yes. Well,
I'm sure
it's-
they'll have videos, right? They'll have some sort of investigation.
Yes,
Okay.
now Pete's, go on to Pete's website
Okay.
because he has organized so many embedded things.
Okay.
In fact, I think I sent one of the links in my document is the link to all video lessons
Okay.
of his.
Oh, nice.
So it's all in one place. You don't have to go
Oh,
hunting
very
and looking places
Okay.
for it. I mean, even searching on YouTube,
Yeah.
you type in WordWorks Kingston or RealSpelling,
Okay.
and you come up with that. You could spend forever, but that's why I try to house.
I'm going to
things
share this with my Canadian friend who took me to Kingston when I met you.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's
do you know this,
right.
Alex?
And that's why
Yeah.
I have tried every school that I've been at since my guitar days to get Pete to come, because it's revolutionary. I mean, once you see that, there's no way you can go back to saying that there is a TIN. I mean, did they come to this workshop?
We just have to move on, yeah.
Yeah, I have, but you know, that was, I've proposed every year, and when I get an exciting newsletter from him, and it's a
Yeah.
very pertinent point, I send it off to Chad, and off to Penny, it's hilarious.
Okay, all right, you've done your part.
I've
You know,
tried.
If they're gonna.
So it really is just catching the spark and trying it, and then people see that, and it's like, wow, that's cool.
I'm so glad I came.
Yes.
Because I must say, spelling always intimidates me. It's not one of my strengths. And being dyslexic, it doesn't also help because I can't always hear
Do
it.
you know this is the
But
absolute best for
Once
dyslexic children?
it makes sense,
Yes.
and you don't have to depend on listening.
Exactly. Now, do you know Melvyn is dyslexic?
No way.
That is why he started. He tutors. I mean, that's how it all started up, and then he built it over. I think it's 18 years now. He is dyslexic, and this is amazing for it. And that's the thing. It works really well for the low lows and the high highs because the enrichment, take it, the sky is the limit, and the lower ones. Finally, it makes sense. It's not
How it
gobbledygook.
sounds.
It's not how it sounds. And that whole action thing to me is the clincher.
Okay.
And that put on your extra glasses, peel the bananas, you know, make it fun and catchy that
Because
way.
hearing it, I don't hear it, and I can't make the connection between the letters. I
Right.
just can't.
Right.
So,
wasn't that slide where we had the one and then you clicked on the next slide and you see the deep underlying structure?
I mean, just with please.
That's
Please was
amazing.
amazing. Just to
Yes.
see them.
Yes, and the cats.
Yes.
That totally makes sense. And all these children that make the past tense by putting on a T. It's like, my friends, what do we have here? The puzzle piece, the building block that makes everything past tense. So no matter how it sounds,
It has to be
Yeah.
a puzzle piece.
yeah. And that's another very rich one because, one of the themes, because you get this idea that it can sound like a T, it can sound like a D, and then there's this ud, watched, ud,
Yeah.
which is that crazy
Okay.
IPA language that I tend not to use. But no matter what it is about how it sounds, on paper,
This is how it's written.
it will always be that. And that is very releasing
It is.
for these children.
It is.
because they're so sick of,
Yeah, it sounds different.
Yes.
Right, what you sound.
Yeah,
what
but
you hear.
literally it was first developed as a way for dyslexics. And what's really cool, I don't know if you've heard of all this, what they call it, Gillingham and all that stuff.
Yeah, Jill's been telling me about it.
We gotta get them to the workshop because we have been, like I'm obsessed with this stuff. I go every summer to these workshops just to refresh and rejuvenate and all that stuff. And over the years, I have seen people come, so the Dyslexic Association of Chicago sent people, and the Linda Bell, there's another kind of funky kind of thing, which is on the path to goodness.
Okay.
They come and they leave the 3-day, like,
Gosh,
Yeah.
I gotta get
oh my
on
goodness.
that. Okay.
Yes.
On that workshop somehow.
Yes.
Okay. But I've never noticed him. He doesn't do MISA.
No,
No, he's not.
no,
Okay.
he's done it a few times. He is ear coast. He's done more ear coast.
Okay, so I
He's
need
more
to
of
find
ear
out
coast.
some ear coast workshops.
Yeah, and now, so he had a workshop last year in February, and I was so close to getting the learning support team there. Oh, I was so close. Didn't quite happen, oh well. And I almost got Juana to the summer course, but a glitch came up and she
Okay.
couldn't come. He's just done a weekend workshop in Jakarta.
Okay.
And the funniest thing, I just got an email from a co-worker in Manila saying, oh, you know Pete, because I just went to weekend, and he said, Ilana, and I know Ilana as well, and it's all this.
Yep,
So she's all fired up, she's going back to Manila.
Oh,
And I said, oh, I hope you can rekindle that fire, because Lord knows I tried my 4 years.
okay.
But the hardest thing is, it's not a neat and tidy.
No.
This
Yeah.
is do
It's not a
this.
curriculum.
It's a
Start with
way
here.
of being.
Yeah.
It's a realization that I never meant to, but all these years, ...
Yeah.
And so it always runs into those glitches that, even at ASD in Doha, so I came back after the summer, and I was just over the moon with it. Scared, really scared, but over the moon with it. And I went to my principal and my team leader, and she said, you know what, let's go for it. So the grade 4s, you try it. So I was in charge of word study, and someone else was reading, someone else. So I planned it up. I did all the stuff for the team and gave it to them, and we did it.
Yeah.
That. And it caught on, of course, the year that I went to Manila. So I left, it caught on.
Okay.
Pete came, did all the training, they bought all the resources, but it's now 8 years later, and there are pockets of people, but the nature of the beast with people coming, people going, and administrators feeling they need to have a neat, tiny box that they can put down. I mean, that's obviously why Words the Way got through.
Yeah.
Because no one else knows what else there is.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, they make a big thing of, oh, well, as a team, we decided, or as a school, we decided to adopt this officially.
But how much richer would it be for the teacher herself or himself
Yeah.
to learn and understand all of this and help the kids make those connections? 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But now
Exactly.
I have some inkling and
Yes,
I can dig deeper
that there's
and
more out there.
understand more.
Yeah.
We can't do everything, unfortunately, but I'm so glad I came. Thank you.
Well,
And now I have so much to look at.
Wow, that would be
I'll
my
let you know.
inspiration
I'll
because
let you know.
I'm the road weary.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
let's
funny,
stop
but
that.
Yeah,
If I had you,
I think on the side there.
oh,
Yeah, just that one.